Without further ado, please help me welcome Pastor Chris as he brings the Word of God this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amen. Good morning. All right. Hey, you're in church. It is the best place to be. Would you not agree? All week long. Put a big old fat smile on your face and one more time say good morning. Much better. It is awesome to be able to be with you today and be able to hang out with you here at Thrive Church. You guys have been partnering with us for the last few years. I understand church life. I understand being a pastor. I'm the founding pastor of South Hills. We have 12 campuses, but a few years ago, God really started shifting my heart towards rescuing and helping churches. And you guys, for the last 3 or 4 years, have been an amazing partner of rescuing churches, and so I am super grateful. Thank you, Pastor Aaron. Pastor Hector, who's at a different campus today, and it's a joy to coach him, be his friend, but also just be a part of this church. And thank you so much for just coming to the rescue. We're going to talk about rescuing at the end, because right now America's closing. It's an all-time high. We just hit an all-time high. 3 churches closed for every 1 that opened. I feel like you and I own 1,000 McDonald's. If that keeps up, how long is it before we don't have any left? It's the same thing with churches. Like how long do we have before nothing left? And so we're going to talk about that at the end. But I do believe in giving honor where honor is due, and I always love to honor the parents of Pastor Hector and Vivian, who are right here. Give them a hand. Come on. They are amazing people and amazing parents, and I love their family, and I love their son, and I do everything I can to help him win. But we love them so much, and they are the patriarch and matriarch of the church. I.e., if they don't, have a baby called Hector, you're not here. So thank them afterwards. All right. Hey, so again, I'm the founding pastor of South Hills Church, but also of Church Boom. We rescue churches. There's a bunch of stuff that we do. A little bit more about me in case you do not know, if you're kind of new here to the church. I've been married for 33 years. Yeah. She is Mexican. I got more excitement over that announcement than I did anything else. How many Hispanics do we have here? Come on. There you go. I've been to the family reunions. You're a little louder than that, but that's all right. She doesn't speak any English, but that helps us get along because we don't really have anything to argue about because we don't even understand each other. But we've been married for 33 years, and she's beautiful. I call her my little hot tamale. And we have 2 amazing children, and we have 2 grandchildren, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old granddaughters, Mila and Ella, and we have a grandson on the way. Yeah. How many grandparents do we have here? So much better than parenting, isn't it? Parenting is a farce. And but grandparenting is the best thing on the planet. It's so awesome. I was my 3-year-old turned 4 a while back, and I'm like, we call her Papa and my wife Mimi. I said, okay, your birthday's coming up, Mila. She's about to turn 4. What do you want for your birthday? Papa and Mimi can take you to Disneyland because we live right close to Disneyland, or we can have all your friends over from church and we can have a big party. And this is what she says. She goes, a cruise will be fine. I'm like, how are you at 3 years old even know what a cruise is? Just like her mom, my daughter, always trying to get money from me. But we are a baseball family. We love baseball. My son and I started at age 8. We finished when he was 18 years old. We've seen all 30 baseball stadiums, every one of them. Huge fan of baseball. Love baseball. Collect everything. Love baseball. And here's the weird thing. I've lived in Southern California all my life, and I am a diehard Yankee fan. I know some of you don't like that, but really the issue is I like winning. And 27 World Series, do what you want with that. Big Yankee fan, but we've seen all 30 baseball stadiums. When my son was born, I'll never forget when he was born. Our first one was a girl. We have 2 kids, Grace as our daughter, and our son Aiden, or we call him AJ. And he was born, and my son was born. I was like, all right, this is going to be a boy. He's going to play baseball. You got to raise him up in the ways of the Lord. That's what the Bible says. And so we're really excited. Like, this is our little boy. We're all excited, And if you know anything about baseball, being a left-handed is a big deal in baseball. So 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, I'm trying to figure out, is he left-handed or right-handed? Because he sometimes eats with his right, sometimes eats with his left. I'm like, he's confused. And so By the time he got to 4 years old, I told my wife, we got to get him a glove. He's got to start learning. And so we gave him a glove, and I'm a right-handed. Everybody in our family's right-handed, so I figured he's right-handed. So I'll give him a little glove. We go out to the front yard. Got a little tennis ball, a little soft one. I got a glove. He's got a little glove. I'm okay, buddy. I said, just put your hand out there. When it comes to it, you kind of, trying to teach him. So I throw it to him, hits his glove, falls down. No big deal. First time he ever tried it. He picks it up. Now, here's the problem. He picks it up with his right hand, and I go, okay, son, you go like this. He picks it up, and he goes, and the ball falls down. And I thought, oh, Jesus, he doesn't know how to play baseball. There's no way he can be my son. I went in and told my wife, I go, he was switched at birth. Something went wrong. And so I do it again. I throw the ball to him. It comes out of the glove. He picks it up, throws it like this. And I'm like, this ain't at all help, Lord. And so you're my refuge, my strength. You got to do something. And so then the third time I throw the ball to him, it goes over his head. He throws the glove down, runs and goes, gets it in the front yard, picks it up. But before I could tell him, not with his right hand, he picks it up with his left hand, and he fires the ball at me. And the angels began to sing. I could hear them, and I was like, he's left-handed, So we got him into baseball right away. 5 years old, he's playing baseball. 5, 6, 7. We play all year round, 4 different leagues all year round. We are playing baseball. He is pitching. He's doing great. About 7 or 8 years old, somewhere else, 7 or 8 years old, he comes home from school. He's all excited. He's waving this flyer in his hand. And he said, Dad, I want to sign up for this. All my friends at school are signing up. I want to sign up. And I look at it, and it's a sign up to join a soccer league. And I'm like, son, we don't do that here. We're Christians. We're going to play baseball. So he's like, Dad, but I want to play baseball. I want to play baseball. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we sign him up for baseball. Now, we go out to the opening day. I know nothing about, soccer. I know nothing about soccer. So we sign up for soccer. He's on the league. It's opening day for the soccer team. I don't want him to play. I don't know nothing about it. I can't teach him anything. And we go out there on opening day, and all the little 7, 8-year-olds are all lined up with their little banners, and it's like the Tigers, the Cougars, the Panthers, the Bears, the whatever, all these ferocious cheetah. And then you get to our name. Ready for this one? The Bumblebees. How can you have any confidence named the Bumblebee? The poor little kids, I'm like, and the worst thing is, they were the worst team. They couldn't play at all. And they were horrible. I remember the coach would bring him in during a little halftime. You kids are doing so good. I'm like, what game are you watching? These kids don't know. All they care about is orange slices and Capri Sun. And so I'm like, they don't know anything. So they're horrible. They're horrible. But he would always say, the coach would say, protect your territory. Protect your territory. If you're in this area, you got to protect your territory. If you're the goalie, protect your territory. Over and over, help me out. He would say, protect your what? That's an important part. We'll come back to territory in a minute. So he would always say, protect your territory. So we get to the final game of the season. We are 0-15. Meaning, we've never won a game, ever. We haven't even come close. And the other team is 15-0. This is our last game. I'm like, hey, let's end it on a high, We'll just get destroyed. And so protect your territory, which clearly they don't listen. And so the game starts, and man, this kid on the other team was unreal. It was 1-0, 4-0, 8-0, 12-0. It was a disaster. It was a little Mexican boy on the other team. And whenever he got the ball, now I don't know Spanish, but whenever he got the ball, his dad on the other side of the field would yell out something in Spanish, and he would score every time. And it was like 10-0, 12-0. It was a disaster. Halftime comes. They all rally together, and in comes the Bumblebees, and their wings were like, there was no strength in their wings, and they came, and he's like, you kids are doing good. Again, telling lies, and I'm like, they're not good. Don't tell them that. And so we get done with halftime and go back out. We keep losing, 20-0, 22-0. I don't know why they didn't call the game. We get down to 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the clock, whatever they do. And the game's going, the ball's going every which way, and the ball comes right here to the line, and I'm standing there. And here comes from the other side, the little Mexican boy, here comes little Pele. And he gets the ball, and he starts going the wrong way. The dad on the other side is yelling out. I don't know what he's yelling. I don't speak Spanish, but he's got to be saying you're going the wrong way. I'm assuming that's what he is. But I realize at that moment as he's going the wrong way, this is our only chance to score. If he doesn't score for us, we got nothing on the board. So the dad is yelling whatever he yells in Spanish, trying to tell him, I don't want him to hear the dad. So as loud as I could, I'm running with him down the line. Aquí, just doing whatever I could do. The best part is he scores. And the little bumblebees put him on his shoulder. He's like, what am I doing? Why am I getting praise here? The entire time, all season long, the coach kept yelling 3 words: protect, help me out, protect your territory. You know what the deal is that every one of us have a territory that we are called to protect. Let me show you on the screen. Everybody has that. That's you in the middle. You're all happy and smiling. Look how thin you are. You're looking good. Relationships, children, marriage, finances, career, spiritual life. All of us have some of that in our life. Maybe not all of it, but we have some of that in our life. And when I do this, I want you to think of territory. This is our what? One more time. This is our what? Okay, this is it. You have it. You have a territory. I have a territory. Mine is different than yours, different people, but we all have a territory. We have something that we're meant to protect. Now, if you look at war throughout history, most of the time when there's war, a country against another country, when there's war, it's because one of them want something from their territory. We fight for oil. You have it, we want it. We fight for land. You have it, we want it. We fight for resources. You have it, we want it. All throughout history, fights have always been about territory. And not only is that true in the physical sense throughout history, but it's true in the spiritual sense. There is a territory that we all have. There is a territory that God has given all of us, and there's an enemy that is desperately trying to destroy that territory. There's a great story. If you have a Bible, we'll go there in a second. It's in Mark chapter 5. If you don't have a Bible, just next time at a hotel, get one. They're free. I steal them all the time, and I sell them to rescue churches. I'm doing my part, people. So, there's a great story in Mark 5. Jesus is hanging out with the disciples, and one day, and he's like, hey man, let's go to the other side. So they get in the boat and they go over to the other side. It's an area called Gerasenes. He goes to the other side. A man meets Jesus as he's getting out to the boat. Picture what that would look like. Jesus gets out of this little rowboat with 12 disciples, gets out, starts walking on the sand, walking up to the shore, and this man approaches him who's demon possessed. Now, this is a huge, huge scene. This is Jesus, the Son of the living God, coming face to face with a man that's demon possessed. Now, this short little conversation between Jesus and this man who's demon possessed, this short little conversation, if you lean in this morning, if you take notes, if you're all in and you just really focus, I don't care what age you are, this could absolutely revolutionize your life. This story just is so filled with so much potential of what could happen to you. So pay attention, focus in, get ready for your life to be changed. Here we go. We pick it up at verse 1. They went across the lake, Mark chapter 5, verse 1, to the region of Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit, that's the demon-possessed guy, came from him to the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even a chain, for he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tomb and in the hills, he would cry out himself and cut himself with stones. Now, I want you to picture this. This man is demon-possessed. He's living in the tombs. He's cutting himself with stones. He's rejected. People put him in irons. He breaks them, okay? Now, he comes face to face with Jesus. Folks, this is the epitome of good versus evil. I mean, think about, I know we just kind of read it and we're all saying, oh, that sounds great. Could you imagine being there? You're like, oh my, you're going to get your popcorn because this is going to be big. You're like, this is going to be a huge scene. Like, this is Jesus versus this man. This is a wild scene. You know, it's like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, if you're into that. Or Mike Tyson and my grandma, if you saw the recent fight. Just the same concept. If you didn't see the fight, you don't get it. There's this battle that's about to happen. Now, let's pick it up. Verse 6. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees, the demon-possessed guy in front of him. He shouted at the top of his lungs, "What do you want with me, Jesus? Son of the Most High God, in God's name, don't torture me." Help me out. What does it say? Son of the Most what? Son of the... Okay, now why is that important? Why am I stopping there? There's a reason I'm stopping there. Because right now we think, Jesus is having a conversation with some dude that happens to have demons inside of him. No. This is different. Why is this different? Because the man says to Jesus, "You're the Son of God." The disciples didn't even know that at this point. If the disciples didn't know he was the Son of God, there's no way that this guy would know. Jesus wasn't talking to the man. He was talking to the demons inside the man. Only the demons would recognize him as the Son of God. This is a major scene. Okay, check this out. Huge. All right, let's pick it up where we left off. For Jesus, verse 8 through 10. For Jesus said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." So Jesus says to him, you got to get out of this man. But look at the response. Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." Legion, if you don't know, is a Roman Empire term at the time, meaning 6,000 or more. That's big. Legion means 6,000 or more. "What is your name?" Jesus says. And the demon inside says, "Oh, we're Legion, for we are many." Minimum is 6,000. It's 6,000. Now remember that, because we're going to come back to it, okay? And now we pick it up. Verse 10. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send him, help me out of the area, which the actual word means what? In parentheses, come on. Okay, territory. There's the word, okay? So here's the enemy. The enemy goes, "Oh, okay, but you can cast me out of the man, but don't cast me out of the territory." Jesus said, "Get out of the man." He said, "Get out." Jesus told him that in verse 8, verse 7, "Get out of the man." And then Jesus says, and the demon guy goes, and he says, "Okay, I'll get out of the man, but don't let me out of the territory." This is really interesting. Really interesting. Okay, put that on the screen for me, because I think this is important. Here's the next thought for you. The enemy wasn't concerned with leaving the man. The enemy was concerned with leaving the territory. Come on, help me out. We all have a what? Territory. And he wants to mess you up, but guess what he really wants to do? He wants to mess up your territory. Because he said, "Jesus, go ahead. Cast me out of the man, but don't cast me out of the territory." That's what he was really fighting for. He was fighting for your territory. Hey, guess what? There's people in here that some of your children aren't serving Jesus. He's after your territory. Some of you have grandchildren that get all messed up and they're not serving God. He's after your territory. He's after it. He's after your finances. He's after your career. He's after your joy. He's after your happiness. He's after your spiritual life. He's after all of it. Why? Because he's messing with the territory. He's not just concerned with you. He's messing with the territory. And I bet if we had time to go around to every single person, we could all list something in our territory. It's like, yeah, I don't like that. He's messing with that territory right there. He's not just concerned about the man. He's concerned about the territory. He's always concerned about the territory. I do a lot of traveling, as Pastor Aaron alluded to. I do about 160 to 180 flights a year. That's a lot. When there's only 365 days, it means every other day. And I still don't like flying, by the way. I can't stand it. It still scares me. And you ever notice the last thing you see before you get on a plane is the word terminal? Let that sink in for a moment. They couldn't think of a different word. They may as well just say, "You're going to die." That's basically what it is. I don't like it at all. Now, if you've ever been on this one day, a while back, I'm on a Southwest airline. If you've ever been on a Southwest airline, there's no assigned seating. It is a free-for-all. It's just a bunch of cows being herded onto a plane. And everybody's like, "Get on my seat." It's just a big old fight, right? I'm one of the last to get on the Southwest flight. And there's one middle seat left. I hate middle seats. Now, the person on the window was this little 110-pound lady, and she was all to herself reading the book. That's who you want to sit next to. Everybody's just, they're tiny, but sitting on the aisle seat, I got to sit in the middle now. The aisle seat is some dude that's probably like 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds, looks like a linebacker for some NFL player. He's a monster of a dude. And I'm sitting there in my middle seat, and his head is up here. And I'm just looking at him like, this guy is huge. And he's bleeding over to my side. About $60 worth, by the way. With arms coming over, and I'm like, "This $60, dude." As I gave my Zelle and give me some money. So the flight attendant comes by when the doors are closing, they're getting ready to take off or whatever. He's on the cell phone. And the lady comes by and says, sir, you need to get big old dude. I told you, he's like up here and I'm like sitting there. She says, sir, you need to get off the phone. He goes, yeah, okay. Kind of rude, but whatever, okay. So she goes and does some stuff. She comes back, he's still on the phone. I'm thinking, he ain't getting off the phone. And then she says again, sir, you need to get off the phone. And he goes, I'll get off when I'm ready. And I thought, where's my peanuts and my drink? Because this is going to be a fight, Now a third time, we're moving back the plane. He's still on the phone. Man, he said, sir, you got to get off the phone. And he goes, I'll get off the phone when I'm ready, and started letting her have it. And said a bunch of bad cuss words and horrible things to her and just letting her have it. She defended herself, but he kept coming back. I'm sitting right there. Finally, I'm thinking, I got to do something. I got to defend this lady. So I do. I'm like, dude, can't you be nice? He looks down at me, of course, and goes, what did you say? And I said, do you have any ice? You have to be quick. I didn't want to die, so I came up with something fast. My life's on the line. You got to be quick in those moments. So we finally take off. He's still now up to $80 into my lane. And we finally take off, Now, it's kind of a rainy day. You ever been on a plane when it's a rainy day? It's a little interesting. You take off, and it kind of does a little shaking. But then you go through the clouds because they're going to try to get you above the clouds. It's really weird if you've ever been on a plane. Now you go through the clouds, and it is turbulence beyond turbulence. And especially on this day, it's like, da, 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 da. We're trying to get through the clouds, and everybody's going like this. Now, I'm telling you right now, I fly all the time, and I still hate it, and I'm the one that gets most nervous on the flight. I love it when we go through turbulence and people tighten their seatbelt because that'll help. When you fall out of the sky from 30,000 feet, you got your belt on, you'll be fine. The turbulence starts kicking in, and I'm telling you, everybody gets all nervous, and they get quiet. Not me. I just start yelling, this is it. Glory, hallelujah. Just yelling stuff out. And we're going through this turbulence, and then all of a sudden, it goes from this crazy dark, because it gets real dark in the clouds through the window, and it's like that, and then all of a sudden, boom. And you get to this place where it's quiet and peaceful and blue skies. Ever been on a plane? You know exactly what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, it all changes. Right here, this is the turbulence we all get in. The marriage ain't going great. The children aren't following God. The finances are kind of a mess. I'm getting discouraged. I'm getting bummed out, and he's messing with my territory. And we go through that turbulence. Some of us, we just kind of quit during that time. We kind of give up. We kind of don't really go after everything that God has for our life, and we kind of quit. But I'm telling you this, when you know the enemy's coming after your territory, you keep fighting through that turbulence. You keep fighting, because eventually it'll get quiet and peaceful, and you'll land in blue skies. Now, let me show you something else. And actually, you might want to write this down because it's not going to come on the screen, but I think it's worthy of remembering. You cannot change what you choose to tolerate. You catch that? You cannot change whatever you choose to tolerate. By choosing not to change, you're choosing. You can't change what you choose to tolerate. Okay? You've got to fix it. You got to say, man, I'm going to fight through this thing, and I'm going to get to the other side. Now, here's the other big idea I want you to write down. Put it on the screen for me. Look at this one. Don't miss this. This is important. This is probably the part that I'm most excited about is right here. The enemy doesn't just fight you for where you are. He fights you for where you're going. This is my favorite part. He doesn't just fight you for where you are. He fights you for where you're going. He sees, listen. He doesn't just see, watch this. He doesn't just see your territory. He sees your potential territory. He doesn't just see you in the present. He sees what could become if you went all in. He sees what could happen. He doesn't just fight us for the territory. He fights us for the potential territory. Now stay with me. Okay, this man, Jesus said, and what is your name to the demon? He says his name is what? Come on. Which means how many? Okay, hold on. Stay with me on the thought process. 6,000 demons. What kind of potential was in this man that the enemy thought we got to put 6,000 demons in him? Whew, I have no idea who this dude was. There's no name. I'm just thinking, what is his potential? That the enemy would go, yeah, 6,000 of you go over here. I'm thinking he had to have enormous potential in his territory. He wasn't attacking him for who he was attacking him for who he could become. Huge. But he's been doing that the whole time, the enemy. Remember Jesus? When Jesus was born, Herod killed all the little babies under 2. The enemy orchestrated that because he knew what Jesus would become. In the Old Testament, when Moses was just a baby, Pharaoh had all the babies killed as well. Why did Pharaoh have all the babies killed? Because he knew what he would become. I asked Pastor Hector if I could mention this, and he said yes. And his beautiful mom is sitting here. When she was 15 years old, most of you know the story, he told me that she was pregnant with Hector in juvenile hall. All the administrators, counselors are like, you should just have an abortion. There's nothing you can offer this child. She chooses not to have an abortion. I got to just believe the enemy was going, yeah, I see what he's going to become. I'm going to take care of this right now. He sees the potential territory. When I was 2 years old, and living in Long Beach, California, I don't remember it, of course, but all the neighbors and, I don't know, a couple, 2 or 3 families were in some neighbor's backyard on a hot summer day playing in the pool. And then all of a sudden the ice cream man comes by, and apparently I'm running around probably with my diapers on, I'm assuming at 2 years old. Everybody takes off to go to the ice cream man, but for one way or another, no one remembered me. I fell into the deep end of the pool. I was laying at the bottom as a baby of the pool. My sister came back to get her towel. She grabbed her towel. She looked over and saw me. Otherwise, I'm not here. And I just got to believe the enemy's going, yeah, I'll take care of that right now. He wasn't concerned with my territory at 2 years old. He was concerned with my potential territory. Just like he was with Hector, just like he was with Moses, just like he was with Jesus. It wasn't that the baby, it was what you would become. And I have to believe there are people inside of this room right now. And some of you at birth, you almost died. Some of you as a child or as a teenager had such a horrible experience, it almost took you out into a root of bitterness. Some of you as adults went through some horrible, devastating things that was meant to take you out. Why does he do that? Because he's not just fighting for your territory, he's fighting for your potential territory. He sees what you could become. And that's what scares him. And he always fights after that. He's always coming after our territory. Now, let's go back to the graphic. There's your territory, right? Relationship, children, marriage, finances, career, spiritual life. He comes after your current, right now, today, 2025 territory. He comes after that. But not only that, next one for me. Look at, on the left side, that's your present. That's your present territory. But he comes after, in the red, he comes after the future territory. You know why? Stay with me. Hey, stay with me. Because he sees the success you could have. He sees the business idea that you do have that could finance the kingdom in a big way. He sees the kingdom impact you could have. He sees the influence you could have. He sees the book you could write. He sees the churches you could help that we're going to be doing this month. He sees that, and it terrifies him. You ever thought this? This is my opinion. I'm not saying it's biblical. Just give me my opinion. I think the enemy sees more potential in us than we see in ourselves. He sees and goes, oh, I see what they could become. Let me take care of that now. Not only our present territory, but in red, our future territory, the stuff that hasn't happened yet. That's what he sees. Now, what do you do with all of this? What do you do when you're going through the turbulence? What do you do when you know he's not only after your potential, he's after your future territory? Not just what's here now. He's concerned about this. What do we do with that? There are 2 words that sum up everything I'm going to tell you today, and these are the 2 words: fight back. You got to fight back. You got to say, I'm not doing this. I'm not putting up with it. I was meant for more. I was meant for more. You were meant for more. And all of you women in the house, you are daughters of the Prince of Peace. And you were meant for more. I don't care if you're 12 years old in here or 82 years old in here. He's not done with you when you're done. When he's done, you'll be dead. Until then, he looks at you and says, I got you for more. I got something in your life. I'm going to utilize your finance. I'm going to utilize your life. I got something for you. Fight back. And for the men in the house, you are a son of the living God. And we rear back and we just say, man, God's got something for me. Not just my territory am I going to fight back for. I'm fighting back for my future, my potential territory of what God wants to do in my life. That's what I'm fighting for. And we all have to fight for that. We have to fight back. You can't give in. You can't get in the turbulence and just say, well, you can't change what you choose to tolerate. You got to fight through that stuff and say, I'm getting to the other side. Now, how do we fight back? 2 ways we fight back. Won't come up on the screen. Leave the fight back up there for me if we could. 2 ways you fight back. Number 1, prayer life. Write that down. You got to start praying. If you're not praying enough, start praying more. If you don't know how to pray, it's not that difficult. Just have a conversation with God. My prayers go something like this. I've spent some time with God. God, I love you. You're awesome. Man, thank you for all your amazing things that you do. You're so good. God, you're incredible. Then I always take a minute or two and I kind of aim it towards the enemy. Enemy, I know you're listening. Get out of my family. Get your hands off my money. Get your hands off my future. Get out of here. Because you pray and says, and he says, whatever is bound on earth shall be bound in heaven. We're going to bind him and just say, get out of my life. No more am I going to accept this. We fight back through our prayer life, but we also fight back with our thought life. This is important. I'll get to that. Let me explain that. We fight back with our prayer life, and we fight back with our thought life. About 10, 12 years ago, at that time, we had, 70, 80 employees through all of our campuses and schools and stuff that we had. And I remember sending out an email to everybody. Hey, you guys want to do a weight loss thing? We'll do like a 90-day weight loss to all the staff, my staff. And then, so about 20 joined in. And 20 people joined in, and we all said, okay, let's put in money. Everybody threw in $20. Whoever won got the whole thing, because that's what you want to do with your pastoral staff, gamble. And I'm trying to train them right. So everybody's losing weight. Week 1, week 2, we weigh in every Monday. It was so much fun. Then we weigh in the next Monday. Every Monday, everybody weighs in. By the 4th or 5th week, I started losing weight, but I got to tell you, I wanted to win bad. I came in 3rd place, but I hate losing. And so I was like, man, I'm going to lose weight. 4th or 5th week, I was just so hungry during the service. I'm up there preaching on a Sunday, and everybody looks like a burrito. Bean and cheese, carne asada, carnitas, everybody's happening. I pray over someone and they just look like a Dr. Pepper. Communion come by and I take 18 cups. I'm like, getting whatever. Hey, it's communion. I got to take it, Have you ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Okay, that's not only true physically, that's true spiritually. Watch this. You are what you eat physically, yes. But spiritually, you are what you eat. What you allow to be food in your life is what shapes you. Jesus is on one side trying to feed your faith, and the enemy's on the other side trying to feed your fear. And he comes into our mind and he feeds us. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. Your kids won't make it. Your grandkids won't make it. You're not gonna do anything. You'll never be able to write that book. You'll never be able to be a pastor. You'll never be able to do that stuff. And you're not gonna start that business. And he feeds us all of these thoughts. There's a saying in the whole weight loss world is, if you change your diet, you change your outcome. You know what we need to do spiritually? Change the diet. And look to the enemy and just say, you're feeding me all this stuff. How do we fight back him? You fight words with words. Hold on. When Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days and he fasted and prayed, if you know the story, the enemy would come and visit Jesus. He would say something, and Jesus didn't just go, okay, well, whatever, walk away. He said something right back. Oh, no, that's not what God's word said. And then the enemy comes again a little bit later, says something, and Jesus goes, oh, no, that's not what God's word said. 3 times that happened. You know what you and I need to do? We got to fight back with our words to the enemy. When the enemy comes, put something inside of your head. You're like, oh, no. I'm a child of God. The Bible says that he has plans for me. The Bible says that I'm a royal priesthood, that I'm a holy nation, that God's got something for me, that I am smart enough, I am talented enough, I'm gifted enough through him, and because of him, I'm enough. And we fight back with those words. We don't just take it. Don't take it. Fight back and say, no way am I accepting this in my life. Now, if we went around the room and we had time, we don't, and I'd just say, what are you fighting? I'd tell you mine. Then you would tell me yours and yours and yours. It'll be all different. Okay, our territory is different, and we need to fight back. But you know what? Now we're changing lanes here. We all have different things we have to fight back for, but there is something that is the same fight for all of us. There's a fight we all share, and we all have a responsibility in it, because the enemy's trying to take our territory. The enemy is trying to also take the territory of the local church. He's coming after the territory. He does, and that's a fight for all of us. Rescuing churches and Chris Sonksen and his friends. No. It's everybody. Revelation always requires responsibility. It's everybody. You got to say, man, because there's a fight that we all share in. I've shared this before. I share it all the time. A few years ago, got a bunch of pastors together in Dallas, Texas. We all sat there together in a room, and I just said, look, we got a serious problem on our hands. America's closing 3 churches for every one that opened. Let that sink in. 3 churches for every one that opened. This year will be the highest ever. America will shut down 300 per Sunday. Per Sunday. 84% are in decline. Less than half the people currently in America are claiming a faith. Folks, we're headed to be the next Europe, a non-Christian continent. That's where we're headed towards. So I brought a bunch of guys together, pastors, a big, large church. I said, look, guys, we got a problem. I don't have a problem. We have a problem. I just happen to be the ones kind of heading it up, but we all got a problem here, man. And so we all talked about it for a little bit, and I showed them the same thing I kind of want to show you this morning. Here it is. Put it on the screen for me. The red dots. Stay with me. Just stay focused. Come on, 2 minutes. Here we go. 1980. This is 1980. What do the red dots stand for? Those are all the saturation of local churches. A lot of local churches in the 1980s. Do you know in the 1950s, America, the church population was outgrowing American population? Meaning more churches, more people were joining the church than babies were being born. So this is all the churches in America. We're dominating in 1980. Now watch, go to the next one. Look at the red dots, how they just went down a little. We're starting to lose. That's the year 2000. Do you know in the year 2000, stay with me, in the year 2000, it says on the top left, see that, churches as of 2000? The year 2000 is the first time America closed more than they opened. People thought it was a fluke, but it's happened 25 straight years in a row. Okay, that's the year 2000. Look at what the year 2020, watch the red dots. Whew. That's a lot of churches going. That's what's happening in America. Not happening here because you got a great pastor and great leaders. But that's what's happening. That's 2020. Right now we're in 2025. Look at 2035. 10 years from now, there you go. If we just continue on the same path, that's what it looks like. Now we can see that and do nothing, or see that and respond with a heart of prayer and generosity, because I'm telling you, when we stand before Jesus, revelation requires responsibility. We know what's happening. What are we going to do about it? We're rescuing churches like crazy. What are we doing? We take a church that's under 100. That's who we focus on. Churches under 100 that are 20, 30, 40 about to die, close their doors. We give them free coaching for up to 2 years for free. We pay the coach. They don't have to pay for it. We give them emergency funding, just like we did last week. We gave a church $20,000 because they're growing, but they're behind in the rent. So we got to get them caught up. We also work with, we give them resources. We also, during the middle of it, we send them to the Rocky Mountains for a 4-day soul care retreat that we pay for. We pay for. And I'm telling you, it's working. We have rescued hundreds of churches. Last week alone, 91 more churches came in and said, we're going down, we need your help. In 2 weeks, we have another 50 launching saying, we're going down, we need your help. And we are paying for all of it, and we are rescuing churches because this is the bride of Christ. It's in the emergency room, and it's our job to get it out. That's our job. Our job is to get it out. So that's what we're doing. We've been doing it for 4 years, and God is blessing it beyond belief. It is unreal what God is doing. I want to thank you in advance for your incredible generosity to Kingdom Builders this month. Let's pull together and let's rescue a lot of churches this month. Let's help a lot of churches. I want to give you a free gift. If you have a phone, grab your phone right now. That's the thing you've been acting like you're taking notes on, but you're texting. Don't act like I didn't notice. Grab that QR code. That is a free digital book. It's 11 different stories from 11 pastors on how they got rescued. It's 11 stories from 11 different pastors. You buy a hard copy, it'll give you the option to do that in the little text stuff there, but you don't have to do that. You can get it for free on digital if you want, or you can buy a hard copy and just donate something. But it's all there. And we just want to give that to you as a gift. I want to thank you for giving to Kingdom Builders. I want to thank you for all you do for the kingdom. I want to thank you for being partners both now and in the future, because as Pastor Aaron shared, we are going on a mission over the next several years. We want to get to a point where we reverse the curse and we're now opening more than we close. We're going to get there. We're going to get there, but it's going to take all of us. I want to show you a story of a pastor in Willard, Ohio. This pastor had cancer, by the way. He had cancer. He went through it. God healed him. And he's took over a church of 15 people. God spoke to him, moved from Florida to Ohio, took a church of 15. They were about to close their doors. He said, maybe we could do it. He signed up with our rescue. A church sponsored him and helped him. Okay, just like we're doing right here today. That church of 15 people went from 15 to 30 to 70 to 90 to 120. It's getting healthy again. This is one example of hundreds of examples of churches that are being rescued. And here's the deal. We believe rescue churches, as we're going to find out in this video, rescue churches rescue people. But here's the big thing. Rescue churches will rescue America. Check out this story, and then Pastor Aaron will come.
I didn't find out until we got here. I called my presbyter and said, hey, this is Mike Harrell. I'm at the church here in Willard. He's like, what? What do you mean Willard? We're closing that church. What are you doing there? I walked in the door and I thought I was walking into a funeral home. And that was my first impression.
The amount of people that were here at that time, it was just a handful, maybe 15.
We realized that we were in slow death. That's the reality.
Going from paradise to no man's land, Ohio. God has a funny sense of humor. That's the best way I can put it.
One of the best things for my growth was getting involved with Church Boom. And man, it began to just change. I began to see, I had the wheels, but I didn't know how to put them on the car. And Church Boom began to lay that process out for me, help me with that. Not only that, but I could talk with other pastors in my cohort. I'll be honest, it began to help us change, began to take things to my board, and I began to pour into them and show them. And we went through this whole process of rebranding the church, renaming the church, which was a long process. And we didn't just do it in 3 days or 3 months. It was about an 18-month process we went through. We were able to rebrand the church. We see God do amazing things, and we were relaunched as a whole new church. It's kind of overwhelming for me. I got here. You bring me here from South Florida. God said, I gave you a vision. What's so cool is we're seeing that vision begin to see fruit. We're seeing a vision that I didn't have, but others have had. We're seeing the fruit of that right now.
Willard has 22 churches, and there's a culture change here. I've been to many of those churches. This church is different.
Walking through the door, I just felt welcomed right away. I felt loved on. It was like that little bit that I was missing. Our daughter, Ren, was born in 2020. When she was 6 months old, she had a rapid onset of seizures. She coded, meaning she lost her, she went into cardiac arrest 3 times before we made it to the hospital. And then we spent the next 72 days in the PICU. We were told that she likely wouldn't make it to her first birthday. She made it to her second birthday, and then 6 months later is when we lost her. Very suddenly, but we're thankful for the time that we got. If we didn't have Mike and Michelle, if we didn't have the church, like we spent 72 days in a PICU, and a lot of that, I was completely alone. Physically, I was alone, but I always knew that I wasn't alone because we had a live stream, and every time I watched it, I was watching our church pray for us here. And not only that, but reaching out to us, sending what we needed. There's too much mention of one another in Scripture, and that's what we find at City Church is we love one another. There's a belonging. This is our family. And that is what is really pressed here. I think that's the big difference here.
Church Boom has excelled so much in our pastor and in everyone else that he comes into contact with. It's opened him up to trying to show us how a church should be working, and he's so giving about it. It's not about, well, you're here and I need the numbers. It's more of, I want to help you get to heaven. If it wasn't for him doing that, and engaging with me and being in the life group, doing the Church Boom, I don't think I would be in a church.